Morning.
Good morning.
Out of darkness comes light. Out of death comes life. Out of chaos comes order. Out of war comes peace. Out of hate comes love. That's life. Can't get around it. Don't try to avoid it. You'll only frustrate yourselves. Let me first of all recognize good friends or Bermuda. And I can say, now mine, the Bournes. Your proper title now is what, sir? And just before that you were Doctor of Law and Attorney General and Gwyneth. Yes, so good having, and your lovely wife. So good having. And members of the family. So happy to have members. Is that the Swan family back there? Yes? Yes? Stand up. That's so nice. So good to have you. Are we family? Yes? We're family. We're going to work on that, aren't we? We bet your life. We're going to work on that. So good to have you. Anybody wants to give a sermon on that? Very briefly, my friends, just let me give you a thought. God has not called us for a season, but rather for a reason. We live our lives according to seasons. We do a little bit here, a little bit there. We say something nice, we say something bad over here. We do our duty one time, we sort of fluff on the other side. We're not balanced. God calls us to be balanced in this life, in this world. Thus He gives us a choice. He calls us to be balanced. He has not called us for a season, but for a reason. The story is told of a little boy that went to church. The mother didn't go. Mother, like most parents, they don't go to church. They sent the little children home because they want them to get a little religious education. So she said to the boy, now you go off to church, and you better be prepared to tell me about the sermon when you come back home. The little boy, he took his pencil with him and went to church with his note. The preacher preached. He made all his little notes. And when he got in, his mother said, sit down. Now what did the preacher preach about? He says, Mom, I'm ready. He said, I made my notes. She said, well, tell me what the preacher preached about. He said, well, he preached about this man who was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. And that while he was on the way, some bad men, they're robbers, they found him, they stopped him, they beat up on him, they took his money and his jewelry, and they left him to die. She says, is that all? He said, no, soon after that, a really religious person, let's say a Christian, came by, took a look at him, they went over, took a look at him and says, oh my Lord, he's not of our kind at all. He doesn't belong here. I don't know where he come from. And frankly, he's dirty and probably got germs. I'm on my way to church. I can't go to church with his problem. And so that person walked away and went to the temple and prayed one of the most beautiful prayers one has ever heard. Said, and that's it. No, she says. Then came the preacher. And the preacher came and heard his cry. The preacher went over there to him and took a look at him. Then the preacher went in his pocket to see if he had any money. Found the preacher said, well, they've already robbed you. I'm out of here. The preacher left him there to die. Funny story. But Christianity seems to reduce itself to one, either you're not of my kind, you don't belong to my religion, you're not of my color, you're not of my educational background, or I'm just too holy for you, and you can do nothing for me. One of the two. And if we have a problem in the world, or a problem in Bermuda, a problem with our own families, is that somehow we've forgotten how to care for each other. We talk about, I got your back, but it's a figure of speech. Because the very people who tell you, I got your back, will stab you just as quickly. That's not getting your back. What we need is, my friends, for people to begin to think, I'm here for a reason. I'm not here just to get everything I want for myself. But God has placed me here for a very special reason. And I want to take you back to the beginning, when God created the world and said, I need somebody to care for this world. I know what I'll do. He says, I'll create man. And they said he knelt down, took dirt, formed it, blew into it, his body, his breath, his spirit, and man became a living soul. And then said, but he can't do it alone. He needs somebody to help him, somebody to work with him. And thus we say he created woman. Not an inferior woman, not an inferior mate, but an equal mate to help get the job done. And since that time we've been trying to do it by ourselves. And we fail every time. We try to blame women for all our problems. And women are now beginning to blame men for all their problems. And until we get it together and recognize that we cannot do without each other, and there has to be mutual respect along the way. And that God has called us for a season, not a season, but a reason, then can we get it together. What do I say? The world is in turmoil, and so is Bermuda. And some people are ready to throw up their hands. Oh, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? From what I see, my friends, you live in one of the best little countries in the world. I'm going to keep telling you that until you understand that. You want to go down to the islands? You may say Yaman here. And we may sit and sing their calypso here. But you don't want to go down there. They've got some problems. We have problems here. But not as bad as we want to make it. I'm saying that because we're called for a reason to make Bermuda a better place for all of us, not some of us. For all of us that are together in peace and harmony and unity, we must be about our brother's business. We must understand that we are our brother's keeper, and that no man has an island to himself. One of the wonderful things came out of Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri, the other day. Some of the young brothers sat around the table, and one that knew. And then, I don't know if anybody saw that. These young brothers were never made with television camera for the rest of their life. They interviewed them. And one young man spoke up and he said, you know what? We need to start talking in our community. He said, I want to say something. He says, those of you with pain and aches and frustration and hatred, leave it out. Come in here, let's talk. Let's put on your man pants, they say, so we can talk things out. Here, I'm looking at these two babies that I just baptized. What is their future? What's the future of these two babies I baptized, like all the other babies I baptized? What's their future? Can you tell me? What's their future? Anybody here? What's their future? You know what I want to hear? That somehow I have just baptized one of the premiers of Bermuda. I have just touched, and we have just called the name of one of the major surgeons in the history of mankind, out of Bermuda. I want to hear you say that out of here come some of the professors in our university. Somebody's going to be president of a college over here. I want you to tell me that some of these ladies are going to sit in the House of Parliament. I I want to tell you they're going to become head of the Board of Education and change this nasty, crazy system we have and make it a system for the future of Bermuda. I want to hear that. Can I hear it? Amen. No, that means you got to work at it. It means you got to make a commitment for these three young ladies and better their future for the future of the rest of the Bermuda. That's what we're called to do. You see, I like people talking about, I'm getting on my shoes and I'm going to heaven and I'm going to break every chain and all that and I wait for the master to come. That's fine. Wait until you die. While you're alive, my friends, we need action. We need to stop talking the religious talk and begin to do the religious thing. Yeah. We need to get out of looking pretty and nice and saying all the nice things and talk about how we love our Lord and begin to talk about how we love our children and how we love each other. We are called, not for a season, because maybe gave the way. You're just talking about a season. Here today, going tomorrow. I'm looking at these young brothers, and every time I see you, I see a future in you. But I don't want to see, when I look out there, Westgate. Frankly, I'd like to tear that place down. We don't need a Westgate in this island. We really don't. And I hope the day will come when there will be less and less and less of not our young men up there. And that can only happen if we commit ourselves to leadership. My friends, how can this happen? We need leaders. We need leaders. We need leadership coming from our men and young men and from our women. What kind of leaders am I talking about? We've had leaders in Bermuda, yes. Well, what kind of leadership have we had, really, when you think about it? What's the quality of leadership? In the gospel for today, the disciples were talking. Master, they say, who is the greatest at this table? Jesus told them up for 1 second and said, the greatest person at this table who will become the leader is the person who will serve. That's your leader. Show me somebody who is willing to serve everybody else, and I'll show you the leader. I close with the story of two boys in the same school. One sort of well-to-do, the other not too well-to-do. They were given a task to clean up the kitchen. Every day after the lunch period, the two boys were going to do the work. One boy would sort of do a shoddy job. He'd just do it, push stuff all over the place. And the other boy would stay there and clean up not only his part of the job, but also his friends. The principal looked at them one day and said, come here. He says, I noticed that you not only do your job and you do it well. Why are you doing his work? What does he have on you? The little boy says, he's got nothing on me. He says, are you scared of him? He says, I'm not scared at all. He said, why are you doing this work? He said, sir, I want to be a leader. And I understand that in order to be a leader, I must learn how to be a servant. Do we have many servants left in Bermuda? Young people? Do we have many servants? If indeed you're servants, you'll become the leaders. I pray God's blessings on you. God's blessed you too, both of you. He's giving you a very special blessing. Once again, he says, I'm not through with you Bermudians yet. I'm going to give you another chance to get it right. And I'm looking among you, and I see all these young people here. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Young ladies, stand up. You, yeah. Stand up. Stand up. Young, stand up. Look around. Stand up. See these young people? Our future leaders. Make it possible for them to take their rightful place. And you, I place the responsibility on you. You do what you have to do and become God's special leader in the group. God bless you.